All right, so the Matrice M200 comes inside this very protective carrying case. Before you're going to take the drone out of the case, you want to make sure you have it in a neat and tidy area. You don't want the surface to be contaminated with moisture, dust, dirt, nothing like that, because we really want to keep the unit in the best quality shape. So the drone comes folded up and secured inside the box. The propellers are in the upper portion of the box. There's two sets of propellers that come neatly wrapped. The legs of the drone also come in the lid of the carrying case. You're going to want to pop those out of their specific designated slot. We could then remove and set the DJI Matrice upside down on the table. The first thing you're going to do with the drone is plug in the legs right away so you can get it flipped up and standing on itself. You pop them into their slots, and then you'll hear a clicking noise when the legs properly get snapped into place. When the drone is brand new, it's a little stubborn to get them to click in. Once they're clicked in, you can flip the 200 around. Now all of the arms can be folded out into their position, and then there's an innovative locking mechanism that'll confirm that the arms are in the locked position once they are rotated. So this is indicated once the silver line is facing the locked direction marked on the drone. To make sure you didn't make any mistakes, make sure the legs are all properly secured onto the drone. Before we plug in the propellers, this up here is going to be the FPV camera. That's going to show you camera feed of what is in front of the drone. It basically just looks straightforward. It can't really be controlled in any way, shape, or form, and it provides a low quality video feed of what is in front of the drone. Following the legs, we will then be installing the propeller guards. These propeller guards have been designed that you could actually add them after the propellers, but for the sake of the demonstration, we're going to do them before. But it can be done in either order. You can install these after or before you install the propellers. They wrap around the base of the motor, and then these screws hold them on tight. We have equipped these propeller guards with LEDs on them that are going to light up the area. That'll help the sensors avoid objects, and it'll also help really see what the drone is doing and help it capture more data. Now that the 4 propeller guards are on there to keep the propellers safe and to keep the area well lit, we can unbox the 4 propellers. Now there are 2 different types of propellers. Since 2 of them rotate in the opposite direction of the other 2, there are 2 gray labeled propellers that have gray labeling in the center, and there are 2 black propellers. If you look on the tops of the motors, 2 of the motors have just black labeling, and 2 of the motors have gray lines. So the gray lines on the motors align with the gray lined propellers, and vice versa with the straight black ones. So to install them is pretty simple. You push down and rotate until you hear the satisfying clicking noise, and it's always good to double check and lift up on the propeller with your hands. Make sure it does not wiggle in any sort of way or shape. If the drone ever was in a collision and did have some damage, the propellers may not be able to hook on properly because of a hook may be broken, and that will need to be replaced. Once fully installed, you can look at each propeller and confirm that the black propellers have lined up with the black labeling and that the ones with the gray markings have lined up below with the gray labeling as well. The motors spin and operate freely, which means there's been no dirt or no problems inside of them. So that means they're good to go. After the propellers are installed, we're going to install the battery. For this tutorial, we're not going to be installing the LiDAR on the top of the drone just yet. We're just getting it ready to do some flying practice without any equipment attached to the drone. So you're going to take your paired up batteries both batteries A, for example, and now we're going to be plugging them into the drone. The electrical plug on the motor goes to the inside, so both electrical plugs of the battery will be together, similar to this. So both batteries will slide into the drone in this orientation. There will be a satisfying clicking sound when the batteries are properly inserted. It's always a good precaution to give a quick wiggle and make sure that they're properly secured inside the drone. Other notes to make sure is that the dust cap is fixed. There's a dust cap that needs to be fixed on the front of the drone since we are not putting on a large camera on this drone. So that dust cap needs to be in place in order to make sure no contamination can get inside the drone. Looking at the left side of the drone, there is a memory card SD slot inside the drone. Now before you fly the matrice, you're going to want to make sure the collision avoidance system is in operating condition. The forward-facing sensors are these two sensors here, and you want to make sure the sensors are clean and have no dirt inside them. There's an upper light-based sensor just behind the LED light. You're going to want to make sure that is clean, and there's also a sensor on the bottom. You want to make sure that's clean and tidy as well. The Matrice M200 batteries come neatly packaged inside this box. When you open it, you will find packaging, soft packaging, and then the batteries themselves come with instructions, and then they also come with the rubber plug that you're going to have to remove for flight. It's ideal if you're not storing them inside of a storage case to be putting these rubber plugs back on the batteries in order to prevent any sort of moisture, dust, or corrosion to occur in the charging port. They also come with labels, so you can label your batteries in order to keep organized. These two batteries will be labeled together so that they're both going to fly together. And that way we keep the batteries as pairs. The day before the morning of a drone flight, you're going to want to make sure the batteries are charged, the remote's charged, and also your tablet is charged. If the tablet's not charged, the remote can charge the tablet. However, it's not great to rely on that, so keep the tablet charged up. We have a 4 charger here for the Matrice batteries. You push on the tab to release the 4 charging ports, and then you're going to plug it into one of the chargers of the remote. You're then able to charge 2 batteries at a time. It does hold 4, so it'll charge the first 2 you put into it, then the next 2. So you're simply just going to slide the batteries into the charger. To fully charge 2 drained batteries, it could take up to 2.5 hours. It also takes about an hour to charge the remote. To charge the remote, you're going to take the other cord that comes with the charger, and you're just going to plug it in. You could actually take out and remove the bottom battery if you had another battery and swap that out. One remote battery seems to last about 3 full flights with the pair batteries. So 6 batteries to 1 remote battery. To store your batteries, you're going to want to deplete the batteries down to about 50 to 60%, and that way you could store them at that rate. These are smart batteries, so they will release their charge over time themselves. So if you don't use the batteries for a few months, they may be at 50%. So that's why you're always going to want to have to charge them up before you use them. A temperature range to store your battery is going to be between 22 and 30 degrees Celsius in a relatively dry area. The temperature range of the batteries can range from pretty extreme temperatures. Due to these batteries have the ability to self-heat themselves. So if you're going to use the batteries on an extremely cold day, where it's as cold as minus 20 degrees Celsius, they will simply warm themselves up. When you turn the batteries on in the drone, it'll be able to warm them up to the proper operating temperature. And then once it's gone through the warming cycle, you will then be able to use the drone. So the remote controller of the Matrice is here. In order to fly, we need to position the antennas up, make sure the antennas are hooked in. They should always be. You're going to attach the mount and then click it on. So this mount will fit various phones and tablets. So you're going to put your phone or tablet in to the mount. You're also going to need a USB-based cord. You're going to need to plug the USB cord from the remote into your phone or tablet. In order to turn the remote on, you need to press the power button once and then press and hold. And that's the way all on and off buttons for DJI are. It'll indicate the battery percentage and that you have no connection. It'll also begin charging your phone or tablet. Depending on what tablet you're going to have, you're going to want to download the DJI Pilot app. Now, the DJI Pilot app does not work on every single phone or tablet, so please check with DJI as to what phone and tablets are compatible with the app. Once you have downloaded the app, you will then be asked to give various information about your account. Once you can, you're able to begin flight from the app. When you have the remote on, the drone on, and the phone or tablet on, the device should be able to connect. Once you are connected, you will know you're connected because you can see the battery levels and other information along the top of the screen. That means we are connected. You could also see the battery levels from the remote. The remote itself, regardless of what phone or tablet is connected, will also display information such as the distance, the speed, the remote battery, and both of the battery capacities for the drone. Within the app, you could touch on the FPV button, and you can now see the video feed coming from the drone. There are various settings. If you're going to troubleshoot, you go up to the Ready to Go button, and this will check on the status of the aircraft. So it's currently in a certain flight mode. Everything seems to be normal. If a calibration is needed, we can tap on Calibrate, and then it will give you the instructions on how to calibrate the drone. Calibration needs to be done far away from magnetic objects and usually in the surface with a good GPS connection. It is not always required. Just showing us, go through some settings here. If the remote does not connect to the drone, you can go to the remote settings within the app and then go to the bottom to remote controller linking. As well, if you look on the drone, there'll be a hatch we open up and we can press the linking button. The button is currently green, meaning the drone is linked right now to a remote. It should always be this way, but if you ever changed remotes, you have to link the remote to the drone via pressing this button and also activating the feature within the app. To turn off the drone, you're simply going to press the button twice until it shuts off. It takes about 20 seconds or so to shut down the drone. To turn the drone on, you're going to want to press the start button twice, but the second time you're going to hold it. So you press once, then you press and hold. The propellers will go through a cycle as it calibrates itself.